Hello, Bots and Books fans. This is Scorp1701. I'd like to thank you for joining me tonight as we take a look at something old and something new, something borrowed and something blue. No, it is not a wedding dress, but it is almost as extravagant. We are going to be taking a look at the brand new DC Direct McFarlane Toys Batman statue based off of McFarlane's drawing of the Batman 423 cover. Now, you may remember back in 2020, we took a look at a statue very similar to this from the Batman Black and White line. It was the 100th statue featuring this exact pose. We'll take a look at it in just a moment, but first off, let's take a look at this packaging. On the top left, you have McFarlane Toys Digital, and that is a special category that we'll take a look at. You have DC Direct, McFarlane Toys. You can see Batman statue in the box there. It is kind of obstructed because of the plastic, but we'll get it out in a minute. You have the McFarlane Toys digital code. Again, we'll talk about that in just a moment. You have Batman by Todd McFarlane, 14 plus, and an awesome Batman symbol. Let's set the camera down, zoom out as best we can, because this is a very large box. And coming around to the right side of the box, you don't get a lot of stuff. You do get the McFarlane Toys digital again. You do get a little bit of read up right here on the bottom, just about the digital. You get a special QR code, which we'll talk about a little later. Coming around to the other side of the box, you just get McFarlane Toys Digital Batman by Todd McFarlane, DC Direct, McFarlane Toys. On the top of the box, you just get McFarlane Toys Digital. On the bottom of the box, you get some credits for the box and a barcode if you're interested in any of that. And finally, coming to the back of the box, we get a beautiful picture of Batman 423 cover, and I love this cover. I've always loved this cover. It's one of the best Batman covers and stories I've ever read. You got DC Direct, McFarlane Toys, 14 plus, not a toy, so just to be clear on that. And you got some more credits for the box down here at the bottom, and that is really cool and neat. So let's zoom back out, and this is basically going to be the Batman 423 statue in the box, but I don't want to see the Batman 423 statue in the box. I know you don't, so let's get it out and see what this thing really looks like. And here we have the Batman 423 statue out of the box. And at the very top of Batman's head, he measures up to be 11 inches tall. And if you go to the highest point of his cape points, it is 11.5 inches. So that is approximately 2 inches taller than the Batman Black and White statue that we looked at in 2020. Also in Batman's box, he comes with this huge figure stand. It's nice and round. You have McFarlane Toys Digital here with a nice symbol for McFarlane Toys there. Nothing really on the back. And then he comes with two cards, a collector's card for the character and a McFarlane Toys digital card, both of which we'll take a closer look in just a moment. But right now, I want to get a more in-depth look at this awesome Batman statue. And coming real close in on Batman's head, I love this head sculpt. It is beautiful. Now, it is borrowed from the exact same sculpt and mold as the Batman Black and White statue, but it has a little more detail in it because it's a little bigger than that previous statue. And you can see a lot of good detail right there in his face. Some very nice ridges to his eyebrows and his nose and the mouth, just nice and angry or stern. The eyes are just steely white poking out of his cowl there. I love that. And as we twist the statue around, the ears get more defined up here. I like that. It's very indicative of the McFarlane drawings where they just come straight out and then kind of curve up instead of just going straight up. I like that detail in there. Zooming out a little bit, we can see the bat symbol on his chest. We'll go out until we can see both tips of the wings. Bat symbol is done in the nice black and yellow with the oval. I like that. It is indented out, so you do get a little texture there. I like that. And if you look down into the body through the cavity there, or the hole, you can see that the costume is gray, and you do get a little bit of utility belt down there at the bottom, so that is really cool. Okay, let's go back out. The cape is molded with several different layers, and it's really nice. This is very soft plastic. It's PVC. It's not like the statue where it felt like it was going to break if you kind of messed with the really sharp points or the edge points. This is a little bit movable, even up to Batman's ears. You can kind of push them together and they're not going to break. It's got some sharp edges to it still, and I think if you put too much pressure here, or it drops it and hits a certain way, yeah, this will break off. So it's not indestructible, so don't go throwing it around or anything. But yes, just the ornate detail of this item is just beautiful. The blues, the washes that they got in there, that is just so cool. Let's zoom out a little more. Wow, just the layers of cape around here is just so cool. Coming to the back, you do get, again, the washed look from the blue, a little bit of darkness here, and I don't know what this part is. Looks like it may be a separate piece that they had to glue on there, maybe to get the bottom of the figure correctly. And you do have a little bit of line right here, maybe separating his head. Maybe that's just for costume design, and maybe that's how that's supposed to look. But that is pretty neat nonetheless. Coming around, yeah, and you got more details in the cape. It's really large to get on frame, so I'm sorry if I'm not doing it justice. On the inside, whereas you got mostly blue on the outside, the inside has nice black paint in there for the inside of the cape, so that is cool. Best way to look at that is if we turn it to the bottom. You do got several layers here, and that is just so beautiful. And right here you can see it's very hollow up there, and you have a metal post here, and that is for where you will put the display stand. That will just tab right into there, and that is really neat. Very cool. Very cool indeed. I love the way this thing looks. Wow. All right, moving on. Now, bringing out the figure stand, you do see your little slot right here, and we'll take the Batman statue. Under here, you do got your metal post right here that we saw earlier, and the best way I've found to get it on is just to hold it up and line it up, and then it will just slide into place like such, and that is pretty cool. It doesn't give him much height, it just gives him a nice flat base for him to be positioned on a shelf or a table for, and that is really neat. And while he's there, when he's on the base, you can move him around however you see fit. If you want the McFarlane Toys Digital to be reading, if not, you can pull him this way and you can just get straight black, but it's up to you. However you want to do it. I don't mind the McFarlane Toys Digital. As of right now, I might change it out. I don't know. I'll have to see. But that is really cool for a figure stand. All right, moving on. And for comparison, here he is with his predecessor, the Batman Black and White McFarlane 423 statue. And as you can see, there is quite a bit of a height difference. And I really like both of these statues, and I'm happy I got the newer version, but there was definitely nothing wrong with this older version if you had this one. And this is the first version, not the second version that they made a little darker or lighter. I can't remember. They put out two versions almost exactly at the same time, but this is the first, and I love him. I love them both, so that is really cool. All right. Moving on. And taking a look at the first collector's card that's in the box, you have a nice picture of the cover of Batman 423. You have Batman here at the bottom, and as we turn it around, you see that there is a weird little read-up of Batman's adventures with a villain called the Reaper, and I'm not exactly sure why they put that on here. but maybe that was what was going on during this time in the comics. But this particular comic had nothing to do with him fighting anybody called the Reaper. It was actually just more of a day in the life issue, and it was really good. But you can pause that, read that to your heart's content, but that is going to be your first collector's card, and it's really nice. And the next card we have in the box is the McFarlane Toys digital card. Now this is a special card that you will have on a lot of McFarlane's new stuff. He has an entire line called McFarlane Digital, and when you see this symbol on the box of any of the McFarlane's toys, you will be given an opportunity to go to a special site, and there is a code that you can uncover right here. Go to the website, put it in, and you will get a digital copy of this statue. Okay, so kind of think of it like this. If you ever played Batman Arkham Asylum, you would be able to go through the game and unlock trophies of the characters. And there's a little trophy section, and you'll go there and you could see the trophy and move it around, and that was pretty cool. Well, McFarlane has done the same thing with all of his figures. You can go to the site, put in the code, and start your own collection of digital figures. It's just a picture, it moves around, it's 3D. It's something new that he thought would be cool to start a collection. Also kind of makes the figures a little more expensive, I think, but it's what they're doing. So we can complain about it, or we could just say, hey, that's nice, and, you know, go about your day. So let's take a closer look on how to access this McFarlane Digital stuff. So if you've never done this before, you'll just have to get on your computer and go to www.mtd.gg, and that will bring you to the McFarlane Toys digital website. Here, you'll be asked to get started by creating a account, username, password, yada yada. Hit the get started, and then you can go from there. Once you log into the system, you'll be able to redeem your collectibles by hitting the redeem at the top right, entering the product code, and hitting redeem, in which case that will give you an unlock of the figure or the statue or whatever that you just bought. Now, if this is the first time you've logged on to the system, you're going to have to download the actual program to it, and it will give you options, either download for Windows or Mac. So download whichever system that you have, and it takes a minute to do that, and then you'll activate it, and that will take you to the main page. Now, if you've already done this, you've already got an icon, and all you got to do is click on the icon, and that will take you to your main page. And once you get there, you're going to see a lot of menus on your left and some cool stuff. And it'll take a minute to figure out this website. I haven't really done a lot with it. I just logged on myself. And you'll have different things you could do. You could check out your collection. If you want to check out your collection, there's this spot on the left, and you can see what your collectibles are. I have one, which is obviously this statue that we're looking at. So that's pretty neat, and you can click on that, and it gives you a little bit of a read up on it. So that is neat. But you could also go back to your main page and enter into the penthouse or some sort of virtual environment in which you can create from the different templates they have on the left. And once you select a place, you can start adding your collectibles into that space, and you can make them any size you want, put them anywhere you want. Some collectibles actually move and some don't, but eventually you can set it around the room wherever you want and save this little area and keep coming back and putting your figures here if you're so inclined. So again, it's going to take a minute to figure out how to move things around and turn them. And once you get it how you want it to look, you can save it, and then other people can come and take a look, just like I did with this fella who had a lot of DC Multiverse and some Spawn stuff, and you could just go into this little virtual environment and just look at everything that he's got. Not sure how he got codes for some of those things because they've been out for a minute, but for the most part, I think it's really neat if you have the time and the desire to look into this type of thing. Truthfully, I have no interest in online digital stuff like this. NFTs, I think they're called, but, you know, you may. So if it's for you, have some fun with it. All right, moving on. And this has been the DC Direct McFarlane Toys Batman 423 1/8 scale PVC statue. And this is a beautiful piece. It is the same sculpt and mold as the Batman black and white version that was released in 2020, except this one is upscaled a little bit and it's fully painted, so that is nice. I love it. Anything that homages Batman 423 is always gonna be something I might pick up, because Batman 423 is my favorite comic. So as for the statue itself, it's beautiful, it's nice, it's not very fragile to the point where I'm afraid of messing with it. It does have some heft to it, even though it's made out of PVC. So still be careful, don't let it fall or knock it over, because there are parts I think that might break. I think this guy is going to look great on my shelf, so I'm going to have to take down the Batman black and white version, as you can see here, and then put the blue version up, and well, there you go. He looks all right up there on my shelf of miscellaneous action figures and stuff. But now I have two blue Batman up there, so that may offset it a little bit. So I may have to do something with that year 2 Batman. But anyway, that is it for this guy. So if you're looking for this particular statue, now it did get released recently and there were 3 versions of it. Obviously we have the blue version here, and if you're looking for it particularly, you can find it on Amazon.com or the McFarlane store, and it will run you $69.99. But they also released a black version, which was also really nice, and it's basically the same statue, it's just painted black and gray, as you can see here, and the inside of the cape is blue, so that's pretty neat. This one will cost you $49.99, and you can get him at GameStops or online retailers. If you can't decide between the black and the blue, you can go to the McFarlane Toy store right now and get them both for $119, and it's kind of a bundle set. So that's something you might want to do. And finally, on the McFarlane store, you could get the Jokerized version, which McFarlane Toys is doing with a lot of their Batman things. And basically, this is a purple version that has ha 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 written all over it, and the face has been painted to look like the Joker face. And to tell you the truth, I don't know what's more grotesque, the fact that the statue looks the way it does, or that if you want this one, you have to go to the McFarlane store and pay a whopping $199 for it. So I think the big difference again is this is actually resin. It's not PVC, so this one will probably be a little more fragile. And I don't know, I don't think this would be something that I would want in my collection, but if you like the Jokerized stuff, then have at it. So the choice is yours. There's a lot of good options for the Batman 423 statue, and I hope you can find one that you like. So that's it, guys. That is the review. I hope you enjoyed it, and until next time, keep playing.